Welcome to Henderson Hashtag. I'm Parker Hutson, your host, and today we'll be talking about I Am Emily Doe, an original play written by Magee-Lee Preston, a Henderson student. Hello, Magee-Lee. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So, can you tell us a little bit about this play?
Yeah, of course. I Am Emily Doe is about Emily Doe, and it's about the events that surrounded the Brock Turner rape case. It really focuses on Emily Doe, who is the victim, and her journey to recovery, and it deals with different people's opinions about what happens to someone when they're raped, and just how people perceive what's going on.
And what interested you in writing this play?
I think that rape and rape culture needs to be talked about more, and we need to have a conversation about it in order for things to change, and in order for people to realize, like, oh, we're feeding into rape culture and how we need to stop it for, everyone, for men and women.
Now, how did you get some of the general knowledge, not just for the case, but also some of the more darker aspects for Emily Doe, the victim, and for the cast?
Of course, I researched a lot, mostly Google. Allison Vetter, who is the Title IX coordinator, Dr. Allison Vetter, she actually gave me the, not the court case, but the police reports on it. And so I got to kind of look at that and delve deep into what was going on and making sure that my play was very accurate. And I looked, at court cases, I looked into Brock Turner's life and how he acts and stuff like that. From the victim's point of view, I looked at a lot of letters and articles that were written by survivors to kind of see how they dealt with their trauma and to see, how they reacted and certain things of what they did, because, there's a process of grief, and every person goes through it in a different way. So, some people start off being sad, but some people start off being angry, and there's just different ways that people deal with it. And so I wanted to make sure that I would merge different people's experiences to see how Emily would react.
And Emily's knowledge and kind of the more darker aspects, you got that from, like, what start did you get that from?
So her letter that she wrote for BuzzFeed, she kind of went into her experience and how she found out at work about her rape. And so she would go to the bathroom a lot of times and just cry in the bathroom at work and then go back. And so I really had to look at that letter to figure out what she did, and I tried to portray that in the play as much as possible.
Now, who are some of the cast who are going to be in this?
Yeah, so we have Cody Mansfield, who is playing Brock Turner. Savannah Reynolds is playing Emily Doe. Reagan Hammonds is playing Jane Doe, which is Emily's sister. And then we have a group of ensemble members, which are played by Ladarius Jamerson, who plays John. And he is a neutral bystander. He doesn't really take a side on if he's on Emily's side or if he's on Brock's side. But two other characters, which are Amy and Duncan, which are played by J.C. Russell and Joe Kalinowski, those both, they take Brock's side. And so it's from their point of view and figuring out that. And then Maddie Moore plays Stephanie, which is the character who is always on Emily's side. And she's a feminist and absolutely crazy and awesome. She's my favorite character, personally, but.
All right, well, thank you so much. We'll be back in just a bit to talk about some clips from the show and how Magee-Lee and the cast have been going about these rehearsals.
I don't know what you do in your spare time, but I watch HTV. I can even watch it here. Even in here. 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 Even way up here. Here too. Here, 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 and even here. And here. That's because Henderson Television has a YouTube account, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Check us out.
Hi, I'm Parker Hutson, your host of Henderson Hashtag, and I'm here with Magee-Lee Preston, the writer of I Am Emily Doe. We're about to watch some clips from the show.
All right, so what's happening here is Emily is actually at the hospital and she is discovering that she was actually raped. So she's pulling pine needles out of her hair and is looking at bruises that are on her legs, and she is freaking out because something happened. And now this clip is actually at Emily's work, and she's discovering the details that happened. You know, what her hair was, what happened to her dress, everything like that. And she discovered this at work. So she's reading an article, and there are actually the cast behind her, and they read off the article to us. So we can see her reaction to it while hearing what it's saying.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
So whenever she's going through this process and the cast is in the background, what's kind of going through the cast's mind? Is it because you said how they're taking sides, what kind of process is going on with them?
So at this point, they're actually, during the play, they play different characters. So they go from their standard ensemble members to playing like the fathers, the mothers, the nurse, the police officer, all that. So at this point, they're, the way I imagined it is they're news reporters. And so they're being objective, except for a couple times where their own bias comes into play, and so they'll come out of the scene essentially and start speaking in the way that their characters, the ensemble members, usually talk. So and you'll notice that too.
It's a really kind of different take on making some of the characters the mom and dad who play, also the friends. It's a really cool take.
Yeah, it's actually Brechtian style, which is kind of cool. It's a guy that wrote plays, and it's essentially just out in the open. You're at a theater, you're watching a play, kind of thing. So it's where the cast actually talks to the audience.
So how did it change from last year? You guys had a show where it was kind of going into the first process of becoming a play. How has that changed from then until now? It's opening again and you get to redo this.
Yes, so at that point it was more of a workshop production. This is the final product. So there have been scenes that have been added, and the dynamics have kind of changed a little bit. For instance, Jane, who is Emily's sister, she was a standalone character in the last production, and she actually is a part of the ensemble now. So she takes on like the news reporter roles, and she tells the audience what's going on. So that's kind of changed a little bit. And if you did see the second stage production last year, you'll know that somebody in the ensemble changes sides. And actually this time, multiple people change sides. So that's something that's changed in it. And just kind of wording and a little bit of that has changed. I did a lot of rewrites over the summer and a lot of more in-depth research. I've changed like the boyfriend's name to his actual name. His name is actually Lucas now, and it used to be Michael. And I found out through research this summer that Emily's actual boyfriend's name is Lucas, and that he went to graduate school in Pennsylvania. So it's kind of bringing in more details on the actual case.
All right, well, I Am Emily Doe will be open from October 3rd until October 7th, and they'll be at 7:30 p.m., except on October 4th, where it'll be at 4 p.m. Students can get in free with student IDs, but it's open to the public for $10 a ticket. Thank you so much, Magee-Lee, for coming in with us.
Thank you for having me.
And this has been Henderson Hashtag with Parker Hutson.